Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my May 2019 horoscope report for you, where I will give you the need-to-knows for your sign, plus talk about the general transits that no doubt will be affecting you. I'll let you know the places where the stars are in beautiful harmony and the possibilities that are open from those connections, as well as the places where the stars are in conflict and the challenges that could come from those connections. And resources, ideas, tips on how to use that energy and understand the energy to create alchemy in your life and have the most graceful and productive month possible. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where I have lots of resources for you on your journey, including a very extensive astrology blog. You can see my new moon and full moon blogs that can help you make the most of those portals of energy that open every couple of weeks. You can sign up for a live reading at my site, and you can also sign up for my astrology apprenticeship program if you resonate with how I teach astrology and you would love to learn. Check out my new book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which is an Amazon bestseller. You can see that on Amazon or at radicalprayerbook.com. So let's see what the stars have for you this month. Hello, Leo friends. I'm so excited to share all of the insights that I have for you this month. I am calling the theme of this month Fabulous Freedom Frenzy. And this is continuing from last month as the personal planets move through Aries. They make beautiful aspects to your Leo placements, and it accentuates everything that makes you you. So it's there are other reasons why I'm calling it that theme, and there are other things that I want to talk about that are not related to that tagline as well. As usual, you know, a proper analysis of a chart is not a superficial discussion. I have a very difficult time keeping it just limited because there's always so much to see. But there is a lot of energy of enthusiasm, hope, opportunities, expansion, seeing things from different exalted positions, you know. And for many of you, April will have held opportunities for getting out of your norm. And now as we go into May, a lot of those opportunities continue, but there's a little bit more of a grounded approach where it's kind of like you've had a taste of some freedom and of breaking free, and now you have to go and do some work and have some discipline and have some organization in order to be able to perpetuate that experience of freedom that you tasted in order to make that more of the norm. So there's an interesting match of continued expansion and inspiration that's coupled with these planets as they move through Taurus to this like grounded, you know, like, okay, now we have to get down to business again, basically. So the 9th house is accentuated for early, middle, and late degree placements. So again, just a reminder, you early degree placements, you are the July born, basically, or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle degree Leo placements are like around August 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And late degree placements are like August 11th through the rest of the sign and 20 to 29 degrees. Those dates could be toggled just a little bit because the sun moves into your sign on a different day each year. It's not always the same day. So depending on when it moved in the year you were born, these could be slightly shifted, but it won't throw things off if you're close to one or the other. Okay, so early, middle, and late degree placements have a strong showing of energy in the 9th house. And the 9th house is where this, you know, renewal of optimism and expansion of faith happens. And again, this like looking at things like on a mountain, where you can get a wide viewpoint of something. So if there's like stresses, and I know that there's stresses, and we'll talk about where the stresses are too, there's stresses in your life, the more you can get onto that mountaintop and look at things from a perspective. I like to recommend like a meditation where you imagine that you are, you know, in your house, and you go up to a mountaintop, and you go up to a cloud, and you kind of are looking down at the earth. And it puts into perspective just whatever this mundane, very difficult challenge that you're having. And sometimes just bringing your awareness to a point that's more expanded can give you some solutions. In general, Leo placements have been experiencing a long-term story of physical issues, like with your body, health issues or restrictions in your workspace or restrictions in your home space. Some of you, this will also have manifested as romantic challenges like restrictions within romance and heaviness there. For other people, it could have manifested as just things gelling for you in any of those departments, because the energy of Saturn, which is part of what we're talking about, can either bring heaviness and difficulty and a strong focus or discipline, or it can just make things gel in a wonderful way. So depending on where you're at in that spectrum, Saturn is having some kind of effect there. So if you have a health issue or a romantic issue or something like that, the more you can get out of the space to see things from a broader perspective, the more it might be easier for you to find solutions when you get back to that kind of everyday world. So, 9th house can also bring long distance travel. This is a continued theme from April. Different, travel within your country or like international. It can also bring the subjects of international business into the forefront. A theme that's coming up for Leos now is this story of bringing your business online or out to a greater audience. So we'll see this month as a great month for opportunities for you to expand your online business, expand your online presence, also social media and marketing within groups, maybe community-based groups. They can be online communities, but they can be in-person communities as well. So since the energy of Mars is moving through this networking sector, which also relates to the internet, which also relates to technological advancements, which also relates to groups and community-based projects. As Mars is there, it's like you'll see you're hot on those type of things. Wherever Mars is in the chart, it's like, I call it the border collie energy. You know how they're just like incessant. I have one border collie and she wants us to throw pine needles. So she's like always at the pine needle, always with the pine needle, So wherever Mars is, it's like wherever that obsessive focus is really just in the forefront. And this is also the house of friendships and acquaintances. So friendships could come back in a stronger way, acquaintances, and it can also have a scattered energy. So like an interest in a bunch of different things, because Mars is still in Gemini for a while longer. And that can ground out more into an emotional setting as Mars gets into Cancer later in the month. Okay, so the 10th house for early degree placements, and soon for middle and late degree placements, more energy is accentuated. So the 10th house has to do with career and work, and it has to do with your place out in the world. So we see those sectors being highlighted. And with all those Aries placements, as we talked about, it really just gives vibrance and inspiration to anything that you want to do. And a lot of times the work sector is directly related to your freedom. So you're free because you work and have money, or you're not free because of your job, or, whatever stories are wrapped up in like your work. So this story about freedom is very intricately related with how you work and what kind of work you do and what kind of money you make and how you can just be more free and be more in your own flow. Very strong theme for this time. Well, Uranus is continuing to bring some very powerful changes, sometimes sudden changes, things out of the blue. So that continues. So for early degree Leo placements, Uranus is really activating this work sector. And one of the taglines of Uranus is freedom. So freedom in the workplace is a strong factor for behavior and decisions, especially for early degree placements. Middle degree placements and late degree, some of you early middle degree, you might also be feeling that, freedom in the work sector really coming up, and using technology or brilliant ideas, unique ideas to change radically change how you experience your work sector. But the rest of the middle and the late degree placements, you still have Uranus moving through your house of philosophies. And when Uranus moves through that house, it's like bringing different ways of looking at things to you to be considered so that you can find one that you match with. So during the time of a Uranus transit through the 9th house, you could be all over the board with like how you're seeing things or what your viewpoint is or what your beliefs are, because new information is constantly coming and it's changing it. Or tests to your faith or tests to your way of looking at things, your belief systems could be very strong. That also is the international travel sector and writing and teaching and things like that. So radical transformation could have been continuing in that sector, especially for the middle and late degree placements. Okay, so those are the things that are most on my mind for Leo placements. Now I'm going to drop in the charts just to give you a quick visual of the things that we discussed. That'll just be a couple of minutes, and then you'll see me back on the screen and we'll talk about the general transits for your need to knows, because there are definitely some dates that I want you to watch out for and some other things to know about the general energies of the month that will affect you. So let's look at the charts now. Okay, so just a reminder, the early Leos are basically the July born, or 0 to 9 degrees. The middle Leos, August 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And the late Leos, August 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. So the first thing that I want to show you that we talked about is this very full 9th house for early, middle, and late degree placements. So that 9th house, the house of optimism, the house of Sagittarius, which is, even though these planets are in Taurus, the energy of Sagittarius, is very sweet with Leo placements. And then we've got all those, and this is also, the international travel, publishing, teaching, speaking, international business, things like that. Then I talked about all these Aries placements that are making beautiful aspects still with your Leo placements. Trines, the most beautiful aspect in all of astrology. So we've got, there's the middle and the early. All right, and then we talked about the 10th house, which is the house of work and career, being aspected in some way or another for all y'all. So see early degree. Now this middle degree, you can see it's not as full, but the sun is moving through there, and that is enough of a focus to bring it into your daily awareness. And then Venus and Mercury are going to be not too far behind. And then for you late degree placements, it will be a little longer before the sun and Mercury and Venus move into that 10th house, but you still have a little longer of Mars being there. So for everybody, it's got something going on, and then soon the sun and the rest of them will start to get there too. So work and career focus for various reasons. And then the last placement that we talked about, let's see. Well, I think that was it. Right, it was the heaviness in the health sector. Saturn moving through the health sector, wanting discipline and focus and solving mysteries in the health departments, or just having more pressure on your physical body. That's early, middle, and then late degree placements. That is not in your physical body house. That heaviness and challenge from Saturn is more in your house of creativity, sometimes bringing creative blocks, or your romantic sector, or your house of children, heaviness involving children. Now, these same things that I've said could be heavy and challenging. Saturn does have another side to it, and that can bring manifestation and fruition and things gelling. So for the later degree placements, romance gelling, children, things with them gelling, creativity, projects coming to fruition or being finished, could be a positive end of Saturn being there. And for middle and late degree placement, Saturn in the 6th could bring a development of your self-employment business, and it could bring answers to health problems, breakthroughs, and information and resources, or it could bring something else involving pets, for better or worse there, heaviness involving pets or animals, or things coming to fruition, or material, like actually things materializing in the pet or animal sectors of life. Okay, so those are the things most on my mind. Now let's talk about these general transits. I'll give you some dates to watch and some other need to knows. So I'm calling the theme of May 2019 for all signs, conquer the obstacles and gain the rewards, because this month we've got all kinds of obstacles, but there's actually more sweet energy than there are challenging energies. And there are going to be things to get through, but you have a lot on your side for getting past them with flying colors. The factors that flip the switch towards action in April are still at play very much this month in May. So we have the first month in a long time without having a personal planet retrograde, either shadow period or the actual retrograde, as part of the equation. So in April, even though Mercury was not retrograde, the whole first half of April, the post-shadow period from Mercury was still in effect. Now here in May, we don't have Mercury, Venus, Mars, the personal planets at all retrograde, nor do we have any of their shadow periods for the transit. So we don't have that to impede progress. At the same time, there are multiple placements in very grounded Taurus, and Jupiter is still retrograde, and Saturn is now going retrograde, and all of these factors can serve to balance ambitions, adding more of a streamlined approach. So you'll hear me talking about this theme for a while because there are multiple factors in the stars that are really telling us to get super efficient with our energy. So you'll have more opportunities this month to really get stuff done, but at the same time, there are challenges to overcome, and there is this sort of reevaluation of the things that you've brought out and checking in and strengthening to see what you need for future expansion. There are many great aspects in Gemini or with Mercury, which rules Gemini this month. So that's going to bring lots of communication, lots of movement, lots of busyness, brilliant social opportunities. We'll have advancement of writing and other creative projects, anything having to do with travel, upgrading communication devices and modes of transportation. All of those things are in the Mercury Gemini domain. So expect a lot of focus in those areas of life. And there are a lot of beautiful aspects that can help boost those efforts. At the same time, there are also a number of clashes with the energy. I'd say more good effects than challenging ones, but we still have to look out for them, and you still will have to overcome them. So there could be some mini slowdowns or drama that come from those challenges. As with April, in May, there's also a hurriedness that goes along with a lot of these energies, and that is could lend itself to unnecessary injuries or accidents or wasting time or just not paying attention to things that can come from that distractedness. So definitely be extra aware and breathe and try to stay centered as you move your body and as you're communicating and as you're carrying through all of these things that want to come through this month. So Jupiter is still in retrograde, and this is one of the factors I referred to earlier. It's asking us to pull in a little bit and to carefully evaluate these next steps. So we want to conserve energy while making the most impact. And Jupiter was on an expansion spree for a while, and things are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as it's been in retrograde, now it's a time to shore up the foundation for the future expansion. So the theme of creating systems that fix situations where you were spread too thin is going to continue this month. And also, as with April, the energy of fewer brilliantly placed efforts rather than a whole bunch of haphazard efforts, the best that you can. Now, it's not going to be super easy to do that in some ways because we do have a lot of energy in Aries, we do have a lot of energy in Gemini, besides that grounded Taurus, which does kind of the glue that helps it all hold together. But it will be busy, it will be scattered, and there will be a lot going on. In general, there are a ton of awesome transits this month. And like I said, more sweet days than challenging ones. But for the beginning of the month and the end of the month, especially, like everything away from just like the exact middle of the month, pretty much, every time there's a sweet aspect, there's a super challenging one. And a lot of times the same exact day. And it's just kind of crazy. So that means that there will be obstacles to get through to gain the rewards, which is why I call the theme of the month that, expect some challenges. It's not going to be like you just walk up to the gates of the place that you're trying to go and you just walk in, It always reminds me of Paperboy, that game Paperboy, when like the guy's just trying to deliver his newspapers and there's like crazy people and dogs and stuff just like trying to get in his way, right? That's what life feels like sometimes. But you can maneuver around it and get the papers delivered this month for sure. But it's going to take work to get to your goals and consistency. So there's a beautiful flow of sweet transits between May 11th and May 18th. There are some challenging ones around the 11th and there are some challenging ones around the 18th, but all the time in between there, like right in the mid-month, is just sweet aspects, so many sweet aspects every day. So if you have to do something important and you need to have oomph without antagonism, your best time of the month to launch and try to push things through is the middle of the month, because that will be where you don't have this contradictory force at every moment like there is for the rest of the month. Okay, so if you want more details about what aspects are happening on what days and what can go along with that, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, AnnieHelpsYou.com. And when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you also get, as a wonderful free gift, my entire 28-day virtual coaching package for free. So that will keep you on the list where you'll get these monthly write-ups a month ahead, where I give you the details and the overview of the month so you can see the days that have challenges and what you're working with there and the ones that are sweets if you're trying to plan ahead of time, as many people are. I'm going to hit just a couple of highlights, and then you can see the rest of the details at AnnieHelpsYou.com when you sign up for my free newsletter. Okay, so in the beginning of the month, the first couple of days, we've got sweet aspects and challenging ones just right next to each other. We've got the new moon on May 4th. That's the new moon in Taurus, so definitely make your new moon wishes, and you can see my blog about that for more details. If you just search for Making Powerful New Moon in Taurus Wishes, Annie, you will find it. But this has a beautiful aspect with Neptune on that day, so I expect some sweetness there sandwiched in between some of the challenges. Look out for overexertion and overcommitment in those days, like right there at the end of the week. Definitely take full advantage of those days between May 11th and May 18th for anything important, big steps, commitments, signing paperwork, launching things. They're just like so many beautiful things. I also love travel at that time. And really this whole month is amazing for travel. You just have to be really careful as you're doing it, and aware. Careful and awareful is what I say. Okay, let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to point out here. The full moon on May 18th. The full moon is at 27 degrees of Scorpio, and that also has a conjunction with Venus and Uranus. So this is really important. So let's just take this piece by piece. We've had multiple months in a row where we've had full moons that are centered around relationships, okay? Because we had 2 Libra full moons in a row, and now we have a Scorpio full moon. And the Libra and Scorpio are these relationship houses. So there may be some major drama at this time, or there could be wonderful breakthroughs within relationships or of any kind, or things coming to be revealed that were hidden before, or just sweet moments, a culmination of something sweet within a relationship. Of any kind. So fullness, drama, completion, breakthroughs, things like that in the areas of Scorpio. But the wild card here is this energy of Venus and Venus and Uranus, because whenever Uranus is involved, it's like things out of the blue, surprises, jostling, and it could be better for better or worse, So Venus rules love and money and self-esteem. So Uranus coming in here often can mean like conflict or fight or something surprise within a relationship that is a challenge. But sometimes it's like a marriage, proposal or something that comes out of the blue, and that's a culmination of this, relationship energy. So it could really be something sweet like that, but we just never know when Uranus is involved. So expect intensity. I always, we all have to live our lives and we have to work and do what we have to do, but if you can leave the full moon a little bit open so that if some challenges come up and you can be present for them, then you might be grateful for that. So, so try to be well rested. That's the other thing that I recommend when Uranus is involved, because if something comes out of the blue and you have to deal with it, at least if you're well rested and calm going into it, it will be easier for you to handle it in the most graceful way. In general, since the energy of Venus and Uranus are both in Taurus, this is, earth energy. This is like ground-breaking, ground-shaking energy. And sometimes it can be quite literally. Uranus in Taurus has already been very much associated with the waking up of the volcanoes over the last year. And, the other earth changes that come from that, and earth effects that come from that, wild weather and things like that, that are related to the earth and the atmosphere. So, just kind of be aware at those times that there's more energy and more power, and just follow your intuition as far as where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So those are the things that are most on my mind for this month. Definitely go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, get my Shine 28-day virtual coaching program for free, get these written version of these general reports in your inbox a month early. You can sign up for a live reading there. You can see more about my vocational courses that I have, including my astrology apprenticeship program, where I can teach you how to use astrology for your personal or professional purposes. And I have lots of other things on my website, like subliminal audios that help you to train your brain in the direction of things that you want. So you can see all that at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely check out my book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life in the World in 28 Days. If you are interested in, if you're a spiritual seeker and you want to align your energies with that of the divine and have the most easy, graceful life possible, this is your little friend. I made it in a nice portable size. It's a beautiful book on the inside and out for you to take with you and use the power of affirmation and prayer to transform your life and the world in positive ways. So you can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. It's an Amazon bestseller. You can go to my husband's website, iamhelios.com, iamhelios.com. He's got all kinds of goodies there. He does astrology readings and tarot readings. And if you'd like written horoscopes by me, plus other lifestyle blogs for natural living, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com and see my written horoscopes for you for each sign a month early each month. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.